Now that you have a fork and a clone of the algorithm archive, you're technically ready to start working on it. But I will have to ask you one thing before you actually do that, and that is to set up a local test environment. I know it sounds kind of complicated and scary, but it really isn't. It'll only have to be done once, and it'll enable you to actually test the things you do before you submit them to us, and you will make your life and our lives much easier with that. What you're seeing is the algorithm archive, but it's not on algorithmarchive.org as you can see in the URL bar. It's on localhost port 4000. That means it's on my PC that I'm on right now. And whatever I change in my working directory, in my clone of the repository, will be visible here. So that means I can add code, and I can change text, and I can fix typos, and I can actually look at the result before I send a pull request to the project. In the next couple of minutes of this video, I will teach you how to set this up. This is where we left off after the last video, and we're going to go from here. Most of the steps in this video will be different on different operating systems. As I said in the introduction, I will only show the steps for Ubuntu Linux, but I will try to point you Mac and Windows users in the right direction. So, on most Linux distributions, you should be able to install Node.js through the terminal or through whatever package manager GUI you have installed. I will show you the way with apt in the terminal in a second, but first I will show the Mac and Windows users where they can get Node.js and npm, because that is the first thing that we need to install. You go to nodejs.org and to downloads. And there will be Windows and Mac OS installers, and if you're on a Linux distribution that does not have Node.js and npm in its package repositories, or you're on a Linux distribution that is older and doesn't have up-to-date versions of Node.js and npm in its repositories, you can also go down here, click on installing Node.js via package manager, and there will be instructions for pretty much all common operating systems that one would use today. However, I'm on Ubuntu 18.04, and I know for a fact that it has somewhat up-to-date versions of Node.js and npm, so I will go ahead and install those through apt in the terminal. The way you do that is, of course, by running sudo apt install Node.js and npm and let that command finish. Once they're installed, regardless of your operating system, you can run two commands to check that everything is alright, and those are node-version and npm-version. If those two commands run and they print a version number, then everything's fine. The next step is Linux only. Maybe you can or even have to do the same thing on Mac OS, but I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm pretty sure you don't have to do it on Windows. But it's setting the npm's so-called prefix to your home directory. And you do that by running npm config set prefix and then $home/.local. And that will tell npm where to install packages. The thing is, we need to set a bit more up here, and that is we have to add a directory in this directory to our path variable. How you do that is on Linux anyway, you go to your home directory, and there should be a hidden file, a dot file called .profile. You can open that up with your text editor. Ubuntu 18.04 already has the relevant part in it. If you open this file and it doesn't have this in it, these three lines, you can create this file if it doesn't already exist, and then add these three lines to them. You can now pause the video and start typing these three lines. Make sure that you type them exactly as you see them on the screen right now. To explain what they do, it says if this directory exists, if the home.local/bin directory exists, then add it to the path. That is because we will have npm install packages into this directory, and we need it in the path so that we can actually run these programs. Once you've changed this file, if it doesn't already have these things in them, you have to create the directory as well. And you can either do that through the GUI. You could go to .local and then here create a new folder called bin, or you go to your terminal and go mkdir-p tilde.local/bin, and that will create this directory. The thing is, you will have to relog. You can check whether you have to by running echo $path, and as you can see here, it doesn't include the home.local bin. So let me relog real quick. I logged out and back in, and when I now run echo $path, I can see here that there is home my username.local/bin, and that is what we need for everything to work. Now the next part again is for everyone, not just the Linux users. Open up a terminal and type npm install -g gitbook -cli, and this will install the Gitbook package globally. This -g stands for global, and it will install the Gitbook CLI package so that we have access to the Gitbook CLI. And that is what we need in order to start our development environment. This might take a couple of seconds, maybe a minute, maybe two. Just give it a bit of time. Good. Now that this is installed, we have to go back to our local copy, to our local clone of the algorithm archive, and that is, in my case, in workspace algorithm archive. And here we can run gitbook install. That's the one I was searching for. Gitbook install is the command that you want to run. Again, this will take a minute, maybe two, I don't know, it depends on your computer and the internet connection that you're on. Now that that is done, there is only one command left that we need to run, and that is the command that actually starts the web server that we can test our changes with. That is gitbook serve. This one will be much faster than the previous two commands. It will only take a couple of seconds, and at the end of it there will be a link you can open in your browser. Now once you see the starting server and serving Gitbook on HTTP localhost port 4000, you can open that link up in your browser and it will look something like this. This is the Arcane Algorithm Archive, but you will see that it's not on algorithmarchive.org, it's on localhost, which is your computer. So whatever you change in your working directory will be visible in here. I will just show you one example. I just opened the file chapters introduction.md, and I can change a couple of words. I can just type some crap in here, save that, and you will see in the terminal it will try to rebuild the book. It'll take a couple of seconds again, and at the end of it, it will print the starting server message again, and you may notice in your browser that it automatically refreshed the page. Now if I go to introduction, you will see that whatever I typed in here actually shows up in the book. So this is a good way to test your changes before you submit them.